Welcome back to JUCO Jam. This is season 4, episode 1. With me, as always, JUCO advocate himself, Brandon Goebel. Brandon, so good to be with you.
We did it. We're back.
It's
They didn't
Christmas
fire us. They didn't fire us. We're here.
yet, but the show is young and there is still time.
Sure.
Brandon, without
Sure.
further ado, let's get into the rewind. And this is day 10 of the junior college basketball season as we record this. So on day 10, we decided that we would do a preview of the preseason top 10. I'm going to go in reverse order for you. So I'm just going to set you up
Mm,
and you just give me some sound nuggets. We're going to start with
mm.
those big bad Badgers first. Number 10, Snow, 4-0 early on. Big win over Eastern Arizona. They got a plethora of stars. My favorite, the free throw sharpshooter himself, McCaden Adams. Talk about those Badgers.
Yeah, Badgers looking great again. Coach May does a fantastic job there. What I think I anticipate seeing from him this year is really emphasizing on the team being more physical. I think that's kind of what tripped him up last year was, their skill and their style of play, carried them throughout the season. But then when it comes into that real physical, grind of Hutch, they got tripped up. So I think that's definitely going to be an emphasis point for him, and they're playing more physical now. And so, if he can really get them to buy into that, and then you add in all the other fantastic things those teams do, I mean, there's no reason you're not going to see Snow make a deep run.
Listen Felt's inside. They have the protein shake deal there in Snow. So
It's
very
true.
excited to see how things go there. Number 9, Odessa, the Wranglers, 3-1. Coach Bucket, big wins over Murray State, Seminole State, and Salt Lake. They got tripped up versus Hillsboro. Star for me, the left-handed point guard, Amir Carson. I know he was one of your JA 48 kids. Talk about what you're thinking about with the Wranglers this season.
Yeah, Wrangler's probably going to go as Amir goes this year. He's a fantastic player, like really dynamic guy that can, pull the team together. Hillsborough was just kind of a weird thing. I think it's one of those early on in the season, you catch yourself looking ahead, looking past somebody like Hillsborough and it bit them. But if we know anything about a Coach Bucket Odessa team, like they're going to right the ship after that and continue on, I think, and being a top team this year.
Number 8, another legendary coach, Jay Herkelman, Coffeeville, 4-0. Big win over John A. Logan in Ottumwa, Iowa. The star, another J48 kid, Abdul Kuda, 6'7", big, strong fella. How do you think about this Coffeeville team's going to do in a rugged Jayhawk conference?
Yeah, I mean they match what you have to have to win the Jayhawk, right? They are a tough physical team. They're not overly big as far as, they're not putting out the 6'10", 6'11" guys like that, but they have some dudes like Abdul, who's one of my favorite players in the country, who was one of my favorite players this summer. Just the most awesome kid in the world who also will like rip your head off to get a rebound. So
He's got a little
great
Michael
balance.
Osei. He's got a little Michael Osei Bonsu in him, who's doing
Yeah.
really well at the Division 1 level. But Abdul's about 3 or 4, maybe 6 inches taller. Uh, so he's doing great. He's a fun one to watch. You got Popovich, the wing, hit 5 threes versus Logan. He's kind of their sharpshooter. Another Hall of Fame coach here, Steve DeMeo, number 7, Northwest Florida. The Raiders picked up a big win this weekend against perennial Eastern Power Monroe. They got a nice collection of stars on the roster. Justin Burns, Demarion Van Kelly, DJ Shine, very talented squad there in the Panhandle.
Yeah, Northwest Florida's win over Monroe is probably even a lot better than I think people realize, given what Monroe returned. This team feels more suited to Coach DeMeo. He's got that guard play. He's got some really great kids. Demarion Van Kelly has been really good. He can be even better. And when things really get rolling for those guys, that guard play is going to be really, really tough to stop. And guard play, as we know, kind of tends to lead the way in junior college. It's great to have bigs in the front court and all that sort of stuff, but if you've got really smart, dynamic guards, you've got a chance every night.
Jones, number 6, the Bobcats, 3-0. Last year they were led by the Purnell kids and LJ twins and LJ Hackman, right? The guard heavy team. This year, the superstar, the big man inside, Big Bob Dixon, coming off a triple double. He had 27 boards in a game. I don't know how you do that. You could leave me in a gym all weekend long and I couldn't get 27 boards. But talk about this team as we record today. They're playing Three Rivers, which is I think is a terrific early season matchup. Coach Mueller always does a good job. BG, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Jones is the show is a fan of Jones and Coach Newton Mueller. They do a great job down there, and now having somebody like Bob that can go do crazy things, like get 27 rebounds is that's a special piece that you're just you can lean on when things are not going great, right? There are times that, with the guards aren't hitting shots and things like that, you kind of struggle for, okay, how are we gonna just settle down here? Well, somebody that can just go get boards like that and do the simple stuff. We always say simple, but like that's actually a really high level skill to have. That's super important. And so,
Super,
Coach
super
Newton,
transferable. Think about the
yeah,
junior college kids who were extraordinarily good rebounders who went on to have massive success. Yaxel Landeberg, right? That was one of the things that translated right away was the rebounding. I've been on the Jones bandwagon for the last couple of years. The good folks at Jones College might ask me to jump off the bandwagon because I have cursed them at Hutch, but I will stick with them unless Coach Mueller asks me to jump off the bandwagon. I'm a
we
big
just
fan of
can't
what
quit
they're
you.
doing there.
We just can't quit you,
I can't
Jones.
quit you. We're with
I
you.
just can't quit you.
Power the Bobcat. Number five, Connor State, back to back Final Four runs. They're 2-0 early on the season. They return almost their entire roster, except possibly their best two players in Edwin Daniel and DJ Dormu. Kevin Stubblefield Jr., Jeremiah Johnson, just a loaded roster. Could be another deep run for Connor State.
Yeah, Connor's kind of, snuck up on everybody the last couple years. Just, the just couldn't really see him, until they get into conference play and stuff like that. Some of that's changed a little bit. Stubblefield's fantastic, really good player, and to bring all of that back, there's no reason to think that Connors isn't just going to kind of Connors along.
There will be no
They they
sneaking this year. No
they're
sneaking.
not sneaking this year, and so it's going to be interesting to see. Where in the past it was like, hey, kind of build through, a softer schedule on the first half and then just start,
And they've
making that
upgraded their
deep run.
schedule. In fairness
Yeah,
to
they
them,
have.
they went
They
out and
have.
they upgraded their schedule at Independence, at Hill this week.
Yep.
I figure that we need to give them their flowers,
Yeah,
Brandon.
more meaningful games here. That's what I'm saying. They're not going to really sneak up on anybody because if they go out and do what they're capable of, they're going to kind of show that strength early on, and so that'll be interesting to see as they go through this early schedule. If they come out of it, what we think they can do. They're a team to watch for another run at the national championship.
Number four, Vincennes, the Trailblazers 5-0. Big win over Harcum this weekend. Wins earlier in the year over Columbia State and Macomb. One of your JA 48 kids, Dayton Williams, has just really transformed as a sophomore. And they have, the straw that stirs the drink, Dre Vassar, one of the best point guards in the country. Todd Franklin picked up his 750th win. Hall of Fame announcer, the best in the business, Dave Hunter, has announced this will be his final year as voice of the Trailblazers. But
Wow.
little nugget there for you, Brandon. What are you thinking about the Trailblazers this year? I know Dayton's one of your favorites.
Yeah, Dayton is phenomenal. Again, fantastic kid, really good player. It's tough to get a real point guard in junior college that can really, just operate things like a point guard does at the Division I level. And so Dre Vassar doing that for Vincennes, I think, is really important to how coach wants to play, right? Like he wants to execute at a high level, but you have to have somebody that's smart and tough and capable of locking in when things are not going the right way. And Dre Vassar can do that, so that's huge for Vincennes.
Number three, Joey Cantons leads the Daytona State Falcons. They're 4-0. Another great point guard, Brandon. There's a theme here. The
Yeah.
diminutive one, Tyrese Lacey. They bring back a Bruley. Talk Falcons 25-26 here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think like Division I coaches know better than to tell me that like Tyrese Lacey's too small for them. They just don't take my call if they know I'm calling about Tyrese and they want to say that because I'll yell all over the place. I'm like, look, if the guy was 6'3", he'd be in the NBA. So
Yeah.
what do you want me to do?
I mean,
Um,
Coffeyville won a national title with a pretty small point guard. Jason Edwards is doing pretty good at the Division 1 level. Like
pretty good at stuff.
I wouldn't sleep on Tyrese Lacey. He's a ball player.
Yeah, and the reality is if you want somebody that actually knows how to run a team that can function without scoring 20 and elevate everybody, that's Tyrese Lacey.
And I don't think he's stressing over trying to get his, right? He's a facilitator. You know, if he scores, he scores, but he gets everybody else involved. I know Coach Cantons is glad that he came back. Number two, South Plains, 2-0 under new leadership. Coach Hayden Sowers moves on to be an assistant coach at Arkansas State. They beat Trinidad State earlier in the year. Transfer Yohandri Ortiz transferred in from Miles, one of the probably better junior college players in the country. Talk about the Texans this season, Brandon.
Yeah, South Plains is loaded. When we got to see them early in Oklahoma, it was like, well, you could split this team into two teams and have two top 10 teams, just top to bottom. So, Coach Cinco, how do you manage all of that talent, right? Like it's a spoil of riches, but it's, at some point you got to trim that roster down. That takes premier coaching to be able to do that, and Coach Cinco can do that. Yohandri Ortiz is a player that's been finding his feet kind of this fall, and things are starting to click. And when they do, I mean, he's as talented as anybody in the country. He's got great size and length and athleticism. At Miles, everything was on his shoulders to kind of do everything. And now at South Plains, it's like, hey, integrating with a bunch of great players. And as that clicks, and he looks like a true Division 1 impact guy, like, you have to be able to play with other great players. Sky's the limit for this team for sure.
And then number one, the defending national champions, Trinity Valley. They're 2-0. Coach Greg Heiar has a great roster, I think, by all accounts, a more talented roster than he had a season ago. Armani Henderson is a transfer from Brunswick. They return MJ Wardlow, Zadi Labaki, who just committed to Utah. I mean, loaded, loaded. What are your thoughts on the Cardinals?
Yeah, I mean, just loaded top to
Yeah.
bottom. And Zadi is one that was so good last year and then was hurt this summer. So, everybody kind of they didn't forget about him, but it just wasn't really on people's radar. And then he shows up this fall and just keeps doing what he's capable of. Armani Henderson is as good of a guard as there is in the country. MJ Wardlow is fantastic. You just go down the whole list. You see why they're
It's
ranked
the
number
pet
one
band.
overall.
It's the cheerleaders. It's the whole
Yeah,
ambiance that comes with Trinity Valley. It's a great thing, and of course their colors match Chili's,
it's true.
with that soft neon red glow. All right, Brandon, I did a little homework.
Mm.
7 of the 10 preseason top 10 teams last year went to Hutch. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, where were the teams ranked that ended in the final four? South Plains was first in the preseason poll, Panola ninth. Our national championship game was Trinity Valley, who was fourth in the preseason poll, and Connors State. They snuck up on people. They were unranked. No sneaking up this year. All right, Brandon, that is a recap of the preseason top 10 teams. If I were to give you a flyer and say, give me a team outside of the top 10 that you like to make a deep run at Hutch, maybe this year's Connors State, who do you like?
Well, it's been interesting watching Indian Hills this year, who's sitting at 11 today, because in the fall, and I think Coach Dewey would agree, they just didn't look like they had that pop. Well, he's got them playing really well, and so Indian Hills could very well be that team. But the team that has maybe surprised me the most has been CSI. Getting to see them late in the fall in the jamborees, they came out to Colorado and
Mm.
just went bananas on everybody, and he's kept that rolling. This might be the year for Coach Reinert there in CSI. They've kind of stubbed their own toe a couple times recently, but he's got the talent. And when those players are all playing together and playing hard, I think he's got them playing harder than any CSI team I've seen in quite a while. They can compete with anybody. So I think that's one that the CSI name brand has the cachet and everything, but recently hasn't maybe performed up to Coach Reinert's expectations. So this could be the year for CSI to now make that deep run.
Ride or die, CSI.
Hey, oh,
I'm going with I'm going to go with Angelina and then Gulf Coast. Those are my two picks to click. Angelina returns a ton of people. They're inside guys, big and strong. And then I love what Coach Lane Blue's doing at Gulf Coast, taking on all comers, crazy schedule, which we'll talk later in the show. All right, Brandon, let's transition right to the rundown. We're going to talk about 8 amazing games this week in junior college basketball. As we record on Tuesday, we have number 6 Jones at Three Rivers, who I think is a huge sleeper. Number 22, Moberly travels to take on Jay Harrington and the Southwestern Illinois College Blue Storm. What are your thoughts on these Tuesday night spectacular events?
Really excited about that Jones Three Rivers game. Like you said, Three Rivers probably undervalued at this point. Um, that should be a very physical game. I'm excited to see the big guys go against each other in that one. And then Moberly Swick, Swick with probably the best team that they've had in some time.
Long
And
time.
so
Yeah.
yeah, no, Moberly is Moberly. And so for those two to square off early in the season here is it should be a good one.
Friday night we have I have a triple play for you, Brandon, if
Hey,
if,
oh,
if I will.
a
Uh,
triple dipper.
the triple dipper.
Hmm.
Um, Trinity Valley, Midland, Daytona State, Northwest Florida, Howard and Lee. Give me your
Yeah,
thoughts.
I mean, Trinity Valley Midland is interesting because I think Midland is an undervalued team. He's got a lot of talent there. It's still trying to figure out how to put those pieces together. What better time to figure it out than when you're playing the running away number one team in the country on Friday?
It's a
But
litmus
Coach,
test.
yeah. I
I
mean,
love a
Coach
litmus
Isaac's going
test
to have him
Friday.
ready to go.
Yeah.
Coach Isaac Amedy's going to have the team ready to go. Daytona, Northwest Florida. How good is that matchup? That's two teams that could be playing for a national championship.
There's going to be
Uh,
like 25 Division One players there.
yeah, like we're less than 2 weeks into the season, and we get to see a game like that, which is awesome. And then Howard Lee is very good, very well coached. Nick Wade does a great job there, and Howard had that weird little bump against Enid, and as going back and watching it again, Enid is talented, but definitely Howard just didn't have it right out of the gate there, lost at the buzzer. But then, some good wins after that. And, some guys still just trying to figure some things out. Especially too, lots of new guys there and some international guys that are getting accustomed to the style of play over here. Terry Copeland is, he's going to
Strong.
fight for that. Like, is he the
Yeah.
best big man in the country? Like, I don't know, but man, he's strong and physical and gets to where he wants and finishes. I think Division One coaches are crazy for not just kicking down his door right now, but that'll probably change soon.
Such a deep, talented roster. I mean, I think when you look at the top eight players that Howard has, it's certainly a top eight roster. Coach Cooper does a great job. I just hope this is the year that the Hawks can stay healthy. They've really been bitten by the injury bug over the last couple of years. If Howard stays healthy, gets to the finish line, I think this is a team we'll see in the national tournament. Saturday, another triple play for you, Brandon. Number 4, Vincennes travels to number 11, Triton. And I'm using the preseason rankings here if people are questioning my methodology. Number 9, Odessa plays Panola in life after Joe Kulagowski. And then we have Snow and Indian Hills. Indian Hills plays both Snow and Salt Lake this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting slate of games because I think there's maybe
Something for everyone.
and there's some unknowns in some of these. Like Triton historically has been great. Coach Soup does a fantastic job up there. Um, you know, uh, Now playing against Vincennes, like this is that big test of like, hey, where are we at? They just in the fall and kind of getting to see him early, you just weren't sure. So here's the test, right? Odessa Panola, great team. Odessa, that Hillsborough hiccup for them, rebounding from that, and now you're just going to go into a major game. Like if you were looking past Hillsborough to Panola, you paid the price for it, so you better go and now get your money back on that. And then Snow Indian Hills, how good of a game is that one? It's just
It was one of the best games in the country last year when they got together. I would imagine it will be one of the better games in the country this year. I mean, 8 games that we're giving you folks. This is can't miss television. Mark your calendars appropriately. Make sure you have your live stream links ready to go. Brandon, when we return, we're going to get into the spotlight with national champion head coach Greg Heiar. Stay with us.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
Welcome back to JUCO Jam. Brandon and I are super excited to be joined by Coach Greg Heiar from Trinity Valley. And now I must say, national champion, Trinity Valley. Coach, how does it feel to get a national championship under your belt and bring one back to the Cardinal faithful?
Oh, it feels great just for the people here on campus and in this community. They really embraced us from the day that we got here. And in 1 year, I mean, the number of amazing people that we've met. And then for the former players and, really Coach Spencer, Big Red, for him the legacy that he has here and to never have won one. The first thing we did when we got off the bus was hand him the trophy. And he said he's been waiting 63 years to touch that trophy. So, it was a huge celebration when we came back, and there's a lot of excitement about it and around the program because of it. And just a lot of it was an amazing ride, and we hit lightning in a bottle when we got to Hutch and made some big time plays and some crucial clutch situations, and we got a little lucky too at the same time. At the end of that Collie game when they make that layup, we're not sitting here talking about a national championship.
So the journey, Trinidad State, Cali, Panola, Connor State, 4 tough opponents. You went right through them. When did you know last year that you had a group that had the ability to win a national title?
After we went to Florida and we played, I don't know what the order was. I think it was Tallahassee, Chipola, Northwest, or Tallahassee, Northwest, Chipola. We played those 3 teams, and all 3 were ranked at the time. And it was, 3 days in a row. And the way we executed down there showed me a lot about the intelligence of our team and the way we defended down there against 3 really good teams that can score the basketball. And, then Chipola gives you that toughness aspect. They'll judge your toughness real quick when you play them. And I was like, wow, we're tough. We can execute and we can defend. And we rebounded at a high level. I was like, oh, we got a chance. And then we went into Region 14 play, and we played Kilgore the first game at Kilgore. And that might have been our best game of the year. And we were just glowing with confidence after coming back from those games in Florida. And I was like, oh, wow, this team has a chance. It's progressing very similar to our Northwest team and that we had that went out there. And it's just a process, and we're just trying to repeat the process. And, this team's probably got more upside, but I don't know if the end result's going to be the same. But I love this team. I knew last year's team had a ton of character. They were great people to be around every day. They were, the definition of student athletes. They did amazing in the classroom. I mean, we may have had the highest GPA in school history for men's basketball. So there was a lot of good that came out of last year's team that gave me hope that we could, win that national championship. But at the end of the day, you got to create luck, and you got to have some luck to win a national championship. And that team did it by how hard they worked.
What was something that surprised you during your time at Hutch on your way to a national tournament or national title last year?
How good the competition was, how good just starting off Trinidad State. I mean, they had a dynamic backcourt. Like, whoa, we haven't seen a backcourt like this. And we had to prepare for them in a short period of time. They could really score, and they put a lot of pressure on our defense. And then the Holly, like Coach Jackson, he's a ball coach. I mean, you can't simulate what he does, and to me, that's something that is really hard to prepare for when you can't simulate it in a short period of time. The way they pressure and switch and jump switch, and but the competition, and and then we get to play round 4 against Panola, who we had battles with all year.
Good
And
news, you
then,
didn't have to do a new scouting report, right?
no, yeah, that's true. We didn't have to, and either did they. That kind of came down to just who wanted it more. And we had used that they had wanted it more at the regional championship, and that's why they beat us, and we had to want it more. And then to play Coach Muse in the national championship game. And, when I went there, my wife asked me if it wasn't you guys, who would you want to win? And I told her I would love to see Coach Muse win one because he's been doing it for so long. He's a great coach. He's got a great system. And then we end up playing him in the national championship game, and it was a heck of a game. Just we found a way to come out on top. But the competition was I think junior colleges, I think it was really good last year. I think it's even better this year. I think it just keeps getting better and better and better and better. And the dynamic, the whole scheme of college basketball is changing. Junior college basketball, it's changing, and it's a good thing.
Coach, I don't usually say anything in the, yeah, I don't usually say much in the middle of these interviews, but I did just want to have you touch back on that one point there about junior college improving, and obviously you having been at the Division I level and seeing the changes over time and things like that. I keep talking to people about how I think junior college today is far superior than it was to when I started in junior college about a decade ago. And obviously with some of the rule changes and things like that have maybe driven some more talent back to JUCO that we haven't seen in a while. What are your kind of thoughts on that?
I definitely agree. I think, one, you get more qualifiers. There's more character in junior college than there's ever been. You're getting really good high school kids that are coming out of high school that are getting overlooked, that are really good players. And look at Division I, the top level high school players are the talk of Division I basketball right now. But after that, the top level players, people don't want to recruit high school players. So they're going to go recruit junior college players. It goes transfer portal, junior college, and the competition there's so many. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night. I don't think it used to be like that. I think you used to have kind of your superior teams and then the rest of the field. And I think now there's teams that nobody's talking about today that could be in the Elite Eight, Final Four, national championship game at the end of the season because of the parity of junior college. And there's just good players all over. And then you got the international effect, which is totally changed. You only used to be able to have a couple internationals on your team. And like you said, the rules have changed. And there's some really, really, really good. It's worldwide recruitment now for junior college. And it's, I got 7 of them in my program. I've never had 7 internationals before. And I love all of them. They just, the way they come up playing and, how we come up playing, it's a little different. And they play against grown men too, at a very young age in their club ball. So they just think, all those dynamics, and you go, oh, wow. But they still come in your gym and they see them and they're like, I don't know. I don't know. And then at the end of the year, these kids go on to play at junior colleges. And I don't know, I saw a thing of the Big Ten, like the top 10 players in the Big Ten, and 3 of them were former junior college players. And it's like, okay, well, these guys go off to low to mid-major plus schools. They average good numbers. They help a team. And next thing you know, they're at Power 5 schools. And they're making a difference at the Power 5 level. So there's a unbelievable junior college effect and hands-on effect at the Division I level. And those kids are, ended up becoming pros as well.
Yeah, I mean, think about the The hemming and hawing that people did recruiting Yaxel Lindenberg, Jason Edwards, Oscar Clough, guys like that that now are playing at the highest levels, and not only playing at the highest levels, but are picked to be all league guys, kind of thing, right? It's interesting to see now.
And B, for us, you have to come in and watch practice, because I have 15 Division I players in the program, but some of them end up going Division II, and they go Division II, and I got a couple that from last year went Division II, and the Division II coaches are loving them, going, we ain't gonna be able to keep them, But I know they're Division I players, but you can't play 15 guys 25 minutes a game. But the practice, the intensity level of practice, you can go find you a good one if you really work. And I just don't feel like the coaches work the Division I or the junior college landscape either like they used to. And maybe that's because of, you can watch every game online. There's so much on social media. I don't know. They're not coming in the gym like they used to.
I want to ask you about two players on this team that I'm really excited about. One, who just signed with or committed to Utah this week. And then one of my favorite players in the country, your point guard, Armani Henderson. Talk a little bit about those two guys and what they mean to your program.
Well, we'll start with Zadie, MVP of Hutch. As good a player as he is, he's a even better person. He was an academic All-American. So was Braylon. So was MJ. So I got 3 returning guys that were academic All-Americans that played important minutes in big games at Hutch to help us win a national championship. But Zadie's just an everyday dude. He works hard every day. He's a game-changing athlete. He can guard 1 through 5. So if the other team, whatever player is kind of getting it going in a game, I can just say, okay, Zadie, you got him. And it's going to be hard because he moves like he's 6 foot, but he's 6'9" with a 7'2" wingspan, and he can run, and he can move laterally, and he can jump, and he crashes the glass, and he makes plays in transition. And once he gets to that little mid-range pull-up, that's his little sweet spot. But a dynamic player, but an even more dynamic person. And he is beloved here on campus. He's beloved in the community, and his peers, the other student athletes here at TVCC, really, really, really loves Zadie. That's just what type of young man he is. And then Monty, electric. He's come a long way since he got here in July. He went from not knowing if he could do it to now he sees the light and he knows he can do it. And every day he's getting better and better and better and better. I think the one thing that both of them have, they're both smart. They're very smart, heady players, and they can take it from the film and get it onto the court. They're tough. They get both, Monty's got an unbelievable motor, but I mean, to get a point guard that led the nation in steals, and, we're a defensive minded team, and to see it translate already in the jamborees and in the exhibition and in our first 2 games, to see the type of pressure he puts on the other team's point guard. I mean, it's to the point where they're just having 2s and 3s bring the ball up. Well, now you got to start offense in a different way.
All right, I want to ask you a question here. Okay. Brandon and I love 90s NBA player comps. At least I do. Brandon plays along. All right. What do you think about Rajon Rondo as the player comp? A little left-handed Rondo. How do you feel about it?
That's what I said to him when I recruited him. I said, you're kind of like you're going to be like how Rondo was for Kentucky for us because of your length, speed, defensive ability. And the one thing that Monty can really do is when he's open, he's a knockdown shooter too. But that is a great comparison. And hopefully he does what Rondo did at Kentucky for us.
Well, see, Brandon, great minds do think alike. So that's true. Just putting that out there. All right. I've asked you a lot of softball questions. Brandon has remained remotely quiet during it because he's kind of the hammer that ends these things in a pretty abrupt way. So, BG, take it away.
It's true. It's true. Coach, so, you talked about the Florida trip last year. That was, that was a big one going down there. So let's just, let's close our eyes. Let's think about, okay, we're on a big road trip. We got these 3 big wins, big whatever. And you know what? The boys deserve something special. So we're gonna pull the bus into a parking lot where the neon glow, the green and the red across. Imagine maybe it just rained, right? So you got that wet asphalt and you see this glow and you look up and there's the Chili's sign. What are we having at Chili's tonight after a huge road trip?
Sliding for the big smash burger, probably the big smash burger. I'm definitely
Ooh.
big smash burger. We got a great Chili's here in Athens, and it's always popping, and they got great food, and that's kind of my go-to. That'd be after a big win, after 3 big wins like that. I'm gonna enjoy it for sure.
Coach, well, that's awesome. Heck of a season last year. Looking forward to watching you guys this year. Lots of players to like on that team. Not only just watching them on the court, but knowing who they are off the court, and a really easy team to root for. So we appreciate you coming on. When we come back on JUCO Jam, we are going to get into the grind.
As the second largest intercollegiate athletic association in the country, the NJCAA serves not only a pivotal role in college athletics, but in higher education. The NJCAA Foundation aims to move the association forward through resources, grant programs, and other special initiatives. Your gift to the NJCAA Foundation will make a difference and create opportunities.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
Welcome back to JUCO Jam. Brand, we're going to transition into the grind where we're going to talk about a current junior college player doing great things. We're going to talk about McCaden Adams at Snow, 6'4", sophomore shooting guard from Pleasant Grove, Utah. As a freshman, started 19 out of 34 games, a key cog in the #1 Snow team for most of the year, 11.5 points a game, a sharpshooter, 39% from three, 90% from the free throw line. I love that. Through 4 games this year, averaging 22 a game, he hit 19 out of 23 free throws against Arizona State. Against Arizona State, the other Arizona school, Eastern Arizona. They might be about as good as Arizona State. So first of all, talk about McCaden Adams. And Coach May, if you're out there listening, how are we missing 4 free throws? It's just going to put down the average.
19 out of 23, like
it actually pulls the average down.
It does. It does. McCaden Adams got great size, no-brainer Division I player. A lot of people starting to get really excited about him for a reason. And look, the 2 best players from Snow last year, the Isaac duos, have moved on to Division I and are doing fantastic. Coach May produces ready-to-go Division I players. McCaden Adams will be no different. Is doing a fantastic job there, and to have that scoring ability like that, back and able to just from anywhere on the floor put people on their heels. We're talking about a sharpshooter that took 23 free throws in a game. Like that's something.
He's super athletic.
Yeah, can't teach somebody the stuff that he can do.
I would not be surprised if at the Division I level he ends up becoming a point guard. Because if he's explosive, he can get to the rim. As his game evolves and gets bigger and stronger, I would see him maybe potentially positioning to that point guard position. But I imagine that this is a kid that's going to end up at a much higher level than maybe people thought coming out of high school or something like that. I mean, he will definitely, to me, end up in a Power 5 program if he chooses so at some point. And then former Badger on last year's team, Chance Trujillo, I believe, was Conference Player of the Week for Southern Utah, if I got my schools correct. I know he's been off to a great start. All right. Transitioning to the show, we're going to talk about a former JUCO player doing great things at the Division I level. One of our favorites, Brandon Dre Kendall, from Barton, won a national title there. He's from Cincinnati, Ohio, averaging 13 points a game at Wichita State. And Wichita State historically has done a terrific job of developing junior college players.
Yeah, I think Coach Mills is probably really happy that they went the JUCO route with this one. Right now, Dre's kind of playing that backup point guard role, the sixth man, really. But I mean, he has been super impactful. I've watched the entirety of their games so far, and when he comes in, it's just a different level of energy that he brings. And there's a lot to be said about recruiting guys that really know how to win, right? And know coming from good programs that teach and having you ready to go, and so at that level for a team as good as Wichita to be able to step in and just have things ready to go is super impressive, and he's just going to continue to get better and better and better there. And awesome kid, and one of those that you just really root for, and so watching him operate has been pretty cool this year.
He's just one of those kids that when he comes onto the court, you can feel there's a little bit of electricity in the arena because something fun's about to happen. He plays at such a fast pace. Definitely one of my favorite players that I've had a chance to watch in person. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get to our closing thoughts that we call the sixth man.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
Welcome back to JUCO Jam. We're going to get into our closing thoughts. We call it the sixth man. I want to just talk about the scheduling, right? It's been a point of emphasis for all of the schools to get back to the national tournament. I think 5 schools to me have really stood out early in the season: Mineral Area, Three Rivers, John A. Logan, Gulf Coast, and Barton. They have traveled. They have played top 40 programs in every game. John A. Logan hasn't even been on their home court yet. I mean, I think they started the season with Mineral Area, Three Rivers, and then they go Coffeyville, Indian Hills. Like just a gauntlet. Mineral Area, Three Rivers have been very similar. Gulf Coast travels all the way to Three Rivers, and they take on Three Rivers and Mineral Area. A very long trip. And I think you just got to give those programs a lot of credit. Barton traveled all the way to Eastern Arizona, and they also traveled to Mineral Area. So I just love these top programs saying, you know what, we're going to do everything we can. We're going all in. We're going to play the best of the best. It's good for the program. It's good for the kids. I know, financially it's not easy for people to do these things, but I think it's great to encourage those who have.
Yeah, for sure. The teams that can need to. It's just as simple as that. It's and that's kind of the way it works at the Division I level too, right? Like, look, if you can't go play these, games or things like that, like then, you have to find another way, and so if you can, you should, and if you do, then being rewarded, has to come with that. And I think that has continued to grow as well, as like really recognizing and rewarding the teams that go out and are successful on those tough road trips. But my six man is a continuation of a six man from last year, when we talked about the Pavia ruling that did all sorts of things to recruiting at the Division I level. And so there's an update. We have an update coming into us live from Copter 9. that Diego Pavia, has decided he's not going to play college football again next year. So he himself is not pursuing another year for his second year of JUCO. However, hold the presses. His attorneys have gotten his permission and are continuing on with converting his case to a class action lawsuit, meaning that basically they're going to gather up a whole bunch of people that are in a similar situation and press forward with the suit to try and get a permanent ruling on junior college and whether or not it counts towards eligibility. Now, there's a whole lot of details that we don't know, whether this is just for, we're not going to count 1 year, we're not going to count any years, anything like that. But was very excited to see that that they did convert that to a class action suit. And I don't know the timing on anything. I don't think anything's even been announced yet on the timing of any of the hearings or anything like that. But we could see something where I'm not sure what the level of the bar level is for an injunction and a class action like that. But exciting things happening that could potentially really help a lot of junior college players for sure.
Yeah, that's great news. Thank you for the update, Brandon. It was great to spend some time with you today. That's season 4, episode 1. It's in the books. I hope everybody out there has a great sports week and get out and enjoy some junior college basketball.